Hello guys and welcome back to a new tutorial. This time, we will go through the steps and methods of making a basic scene, and presenting your ideas in more advanced level. At the end of this tutorial you will learn how to make cool animations around your project, using Eevee render engine, and also, some more realistic still shots with cycles, so enjoy. First, we need to export the drawing as a DXF file. I saved it before as you see, so I will make a new copy here, and export it as a DXF 2007 format. We did make a tutorial on how to import drawings into Blender, so check it out if needed. Inside Blender, delete the default objects, then, go to the add-on settings and make sure the DXF add-on is enabled. After that, if you open the import section, you should see the DXF option. Select the file we saved earlier and hit import. Now, press number pad, to zoom into selection, and switch to top view to see it. We did also have this number with the drawing just to check the scale with the measurement tool. It's bigger than it's supposed to be, and that's because the CAD file is in centimeters unit, where Blender use meter unit in default. So, you can match the unit in Blender and re-import it again, or just scale it by 0.01 and it should be fine. I did add this arrow icon to the outline and turn it off for the drawing to make it unselectable. And it won't affect the snap tool, so enable the magnet icon, and put it on vertices mode. To start modeling. First, this house has 3 separate walls from the main mesh, so let us start with those. Press Shift A to add a cube. In the dimensions, make it 30 centimeters in thickness, and give it a height of 3.6 for now, then, snap it to the right wall corner. In edit mode, switch to face selection and highlight this face to extend it. Once you're done with the first wall, press Shift D to make a copy of it, and snap the copy to the next area. And again, hit Shift D to make a new copy and snap it to the last area. After that, select the last 2 walls and inside edit mode, move the selected faces along its axis to match the drawing. Now, to the main mesh. These walls will contain some windows, so it's better to make them from a plane. With Shift A, add one here. Rotate it by 90 degrees. Give it a height of 4.2 meters, and snap it to the right corner. Inside edit mode, switch to edge selection, select one of the vertical edges, and press E to extrude it along the drawing. Repeat the extrude process until you finish with the walls. Before we close the last wall, move this edge to the right. Then, while holding the Shift, select the opposite edges and with the right mouse button, hit Bridge Edge Loops. This drawing line marks the upper level's floor over the ground walls. So, from top view, hit Shift A to add a cube, and give it a height of 0.4. Snap it first to the left corner, then hit G to move it along the Z-axis to the first floor level. After that, inside Edit mode, and with Vertices selection, extend the cube with the Move tool to cover the needed area. Here in this side, we need to extrude this face by the same amount to make a new part that can be extend up. I did here switch back to Vertices selection and pressed Ctrl+ to grow selection, then, I moved those vertices back by 0.4. After that, select this top face to extrude it. First part will be the walls, and with a height of 3.6 meters. The second extrude is for the ceiling, with a height of 0.4. And again, with the same extrude command, extend this face to cover the mesh from the top. I will extend it to this wall for now and see how it looks. To add the wall here, same as before, add a plane to make them. Give it a height of 3.6 and snap it to the right corner. Move it back by 1.6 meters, and with edge selection, hit E to extrude this edge. We will snap it first to the ceiling corner. Then, we can move it back by 1.6. These three walls are a bit tall, so I will make them 3 meters in height. The top level need a bit fixing. I will extend the ceiling to the main mesh corner, and fix the walls to fit the new area. Here to the left, we have a secondary mesh. We won't make any windows in this area, so I will make it from a cube. Add one here, and snap it to this corner. Inside Edit mode, switch to Face selection to match it with the drawing. For the height, this shape is taller than the main mesh, and we will extend it over the ceiling with the same 0.4 amount in thickness. Again, extrude it by 0.4 and snap it to the ceiling level. This way we give some contrast between the building blocks, which can add more dynamic looks to it. in those interior walls, I will add a cube and just cover this area. It won't show up that much in the render, so make it as you see fit. I think a garage would be nice here. So as before, snap the cube to this corner, fix the height to match the main mesh level, and inside edit mode, switch to face selection and use the extrude command to finish the walls. I did here move those vertices back, and extend them again to the same corner. This wall now has two parts. This way we can cover those opposite walls with bridge, and it won't intersect with the main mesh. So, once you added the top part, select those two faces and with the right mouse button, hit bridge faces. Now back to the main mesh. In this front face, we need to add two windows and a wood part to the left, so it might be better to just separate it from the walls. To do that, select the face and hit P, then choose selection. Now that we separate it, hit Tab to enter edit mode, press Ctrl R to add a cut vertically, then hit G to move the edge along the walls to the left. This will mark the area for the wood part you saw in the render. The right area of this wall will have two windows. To make them, add a new cut with Ctrl R, and in default, it will come in the middle of the face, then hit Ctrl B for bevel. With this, we can make this edge into two and expand the area between them with the mouse movements. Again, add another cut and press Ctrl B to make it two edges with a small area between them. For the next part, we need a cut horizontally, and for that, I will again separate the windows area from the wood part. This way we don't affect the wood part with extra horizontal edge. So once you separate it by selection, add the new cut as shown, and bevel it with Ctrl B to mark the top and bottom edges of the windows. Now that we have those two faces, I will extrude them to inside by 3 cm, then inset them by 5. If the inset don't seem even, we need to apply scale before we inset those faces. I will again extrude them to inside by 3, and with the right mouse button, hit subdivide. With those faces, we can use inset and extrude to mark both the glass and the metal frame areas. Double hit the I key to inset those faces individually, then, extrude them to inside a bit. Now in the wood part to the left, I will add some cuts on it, 9 or 10 of them. And with Ctrl B, we can make each one of them into two edges, Then if we switch to face selection, we can extrude those already highlighted faces to inside and make it look like wood bars. To add the stairs in this area, we need a cube. Make it 15 centimeters in height and snap it to this corner. Then with vertices selection, we can extend it over the stairs area. In X-ray mode, we can add cuts on this cube, and snap them to each step on the drawing. Once you're done with the cuts, select the top faces to extrude them by 15, hold Ctrl to deselect the ones you're done with. Now if you need to take close shots to this area, you can smooth it by adding a bevel modifier. Make the value 1 or 2 centimeters for the bevel amount. And apply scale in object mode to fix the inset if needed. Finally, increase the segments count to smooth the edges. For the front door, select this face and hit P to separate it. We will add to it some cuts with Ctrl R to mark the door area from all sides. Once you select this face, extrude it inside a bit to give the door some depth in the walls. Then separate the door again from its wall. I will add to this face one cut vertically and bevel it as shown. And some horizontal cuts also to divide it into more faces. You can for sure make another design if you have something in mind. The options are limitless, but for us, we will keep it simple. Now, apply scale in object mode, then, switch to edit mode to inset each face individually, and extrude them to inside a bit. We can also put the pivot points transformation on individual origins, to scale each face down as shown. This way we give it more of a bevel look. Again, if you need to take some close shots for the door area, add to it a bevel modifier. We will leave it like this for now without the bevel. To make a door handle, we can shape it from a cube, add it here, and make some extrusion in it. I will make half of the handle, put the cursor on this bottom face, go to Object tab and set the cube origin to 3D cursor, and use the mirror modifier to complete the handle. Apply the modifier once you're done. We can also add another modifier called subdivision surface. This will make the shape smoother. Before we apply the last modifier, we can enter edit mode and add some cuts to fix the corners. Once you're done with the cuts, increase the level value and apply the modifier. Finally, with the right mouse button hit smooth shade. To the left of the door, we can add a simple electronic password device for access. So, add a cube in that area. scale it down to fit, and use the same inset and extrude process to shape it. I just need a small screen with some buttons under it. I applied the scale in object mode, add a small inset to the front face, and some couple of cuts on it. I will select those two faces and extrude them to inside a bit. The top one will be the glass for the screen, the bottom face needs some extra cuts on it, so I used the subdivide command. We can now inset those faces and extrude them to make the buttons. I won't go into details in adding numbers on them, it's not a good idea to go into that before adding the cameras. And again, adding a bevel modifier to this mesh will make it look smoother. Now to the first level walls. It has two parts, wall paint on the top, and windows on the bottom. To do that, I will add a cut with Ctrl R and move it up by 0.8, this way the paint area will be 1 meter in height. For the windows faces, I will select them and apply scale in object mode, then with the right mouse button, hit extrude along normal. This way we add some depth to the windows inside the walls. After that, hit P to separate selection. We need to add some cuts on those faces without affecting the other parts. So, with Ctrl R, I will add couple of cuts on each face according to the length, and use inset and extrude commands to make them into glass and metal frame, same way we did with the ground floor windows. I don't need cuts on this back face, so I will leave it as B. Now, hit A to select all faces, hold Ctrl over the back face to deselect it, and as we said, use the inset and extrude process to shape the windows. We also have wood boards along the first floor and in the left part to the main building. To make those, press Shift A to add a cube here. In the dimensions, make it around 5 cm in thickness and 60 in length. The height would be the same as the first floor, so make it 3.6 meters. After that, move it near the corner and hit R to rotate it on the Z-axis a bit. Press Shift D to make a copy along the exterior edge. And repeat the copy command with Shift R. I will delete some of them to make the windows more visible. Once you're done, copy one of them to the left area and scale it to fit the new height. Then repeat the copy process as before to cover the front area. Here in this area between the three exterior walls and the first floor, we need some kind of a supporting parts, metal columns, to shape them. Add a new cube in this area, and scale it down to fit inside the wall. In the dimensions, make it around 25 by 40. In edit mode, add a cut vertically and hit Ctrl B to split it into two edges. We need to extrude this face between the two edges, so for that, delete the top and bottom faces. Then, select those two faces and with extrude along normal, add some depth to the middle part of the column. I will clean it again by deleting those top and bottom faces. With vertices selection, we can select each set of vertices and hit F to close it. Finally, snap the top face to the first floor level. Now, using Shift D, we can make some copies of this model over the remaining two walls. Now that we finished with the basic shapes, let us add a camera in the scene. Press Shift A and select Camera, hit Ctrl-Alt-0 to put the camera in your view. In the camera location to the right, make the height 1.6. I will also change the frame dimension into a square one, a 1500 by 1500 should work fine. We also need to change the focal length in the camera settings to around 28 for now. And move the camera along the view axis until it seems fit. We need it to be as close as possible to the mesh, and also including the entire building inside the frame. I did also shift the camera on the Y value toward up a bit. In the render as you saw, the floors are separated by two materials, white and black ones, and the white one has some depth in it to inside. So to make that, I will select those faces, apply the scale in object mode, and inset them to inside by 5 centimeters. The resulted edges here are not straight, but it won't matter, so leave them as B. After that, hit extrude along normal to add some depth to the highlighted faces. Again in this part, we will repeat the same process and add some depth to the ceiling and walls thickness. I did here select the wood parts in the first floor and join them with Ctrl J into one object. And again, did the same thing with the wood boards on the left. Hit H to hide the selected objects. Now as I said, the floor has two parts, both white and black ones, so to mark the black areas, I will add couple of cuts on the top level mesh. The distance is not that accurate. Around 0.6 meters. Also in this part add a cut to mark the black metal area. In the first floor near the corner, I will cut a hole in it and make an opening. To do that, add a cube in this area and scale it to fit. Make it rectangular on length, and increase the height a bit over the floor. Now we will cut it with boolean, so select the floor, and in modifiers, choose boolean, then take this pen icon and select the cube we made last. To fix this resulted edge, I will add a cut to the floor in the area where the cube is, and after that, we can apply the boolean and delete this cube to see the gap. In this new opening we made, we need to mark the black metal areas, and add some depth to the vertical faces. Now after the boolean, Ctrl R won't work. So to manage the cuts, inside edit mode, press A to highlight all. Under the knife tool, there is something called bisect. With it, we can add a cut on the entire mesh. Once you added the first one, press A again to highlight all and add the second cut to the floor. We can now select those inner faces, and as before, inset them by 5 and extrude them to inside along normal. press Alt H to unhide all hidden objects. Now, to finish the site elements, we will add a couple of planes to make that. So, add the first plane to cover the areas around the building. Use Edges selection in edit mode to extend it around the main mesh. I did make it into parts, so that we can focus on one of them if we placed the camera near it, and also to delete the face under the stairs and make it as an extend to the sidewalk. Add another plane to make the sidewalk, and snap it to the height needed. And as I said, in the last plane, delete this face under the stair area. I will put the sidewalk plane here to close it with the first step, and then, using Edges selection, we can extend it along its area on the drawing. Here in the inner area for the sidewalk, I will move it up a bit. Then, select the edges on this side and extrude them down to close this gap. Now in this side to the street, we will make it more like a ramp rather than a step. To do that, add a cut along the sidewalk as shown. Then select the edges to the left and extrude them to bottom by 15. After that, select those top edges and move them back toward the building, hit Ctrl B to bevel those edges, and with the mouse wheeler, increase the segments count to make the area smoother. Last but not least is the street. Add a new plane to the scene, and scale it to fit the drawing, then move it up to the sidewalk level. Before we finish this part, I will make some changes in the camera location and focal length. And that's it guys. Next part we will make some street models and importing trees to the scene, and to that time. Stay sharp, goodbye.